Hey traders, happy Sunday. This is Ron Haight. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. As always, everything in this presentation is for educational purposes only. We'll kick off here using daily charts. We'll start with the majors and then get into some individual stocks. So this is Thinkorswim. Spiders are on your screen, which is the S&P ETF. The orange line is the big moving average, the 50-day SMA. Stocks that are above it are viewed as bullish by the institutional community. Stocks that are below it are viewed as bearish. It's that huge line in the sand. Now, if I zoom out and we look at the SPY, look what happened going back to October a year ago. Once we got above the orange, there was this really nice trend. Then we touched it in January, went right back up. Once we lost it, I mean, just look at that crash. Now, breaking the 50-day doesn't mean something's going to crash. It just means the bulls have lost their edge when you break below it. It's signaling to you. It's giving you the red flag, the warning, the tap on the shoulder. The bulls their edge is gone. We fall. We get back above it. Then the bulls have their edge back. And the bears get their edge below the 50. So the bears had their edge. The bears lost it. Then the bulls take the baton and they run it higher. But look at these huge trends that can occur. Now, we never know how long that trend is going to be. It can be short, it can be long. You're just being told the shift has begun. It started. The bulls right now, if they break the 50-day to the downside, the bulls are done. Then the bears get the edge. And I get asked a lot, how would I treat that if I was trading? Well, from an educational perspective, what I would consider doing is if I had short-term bullish positions, a break at the 50-day, they're over, they're gone. Longer-term bullish positions, they now might need hedging, maybe some long puts. If I had stock, maybe some covered calls, maybe some bear put spreads, debit spreads, something. But there's no longer trading the SPY bullish from a directional perspective if we get below that orange line. If we get below it and then we get back above it, well, then the bulls have the edge again. So right now, bulls have the edge, but it may not take much more selling. And we're going to break that 50-day. We were actually below it on Friday. So I hope that helps, give you guys some insight into how that 50-day plays out. So that's the daily chart. Let's look at a weekly chart. Let's do a 3-year weekly. And what we can see here is this blue here is an 8 period. The red's the 20 period. Those are EMAs. And the orange is now a 50 period using weeklies. We're basically on or above all. So the weekly charts for now are fine on the SPY. Let's go back to a daily chart. And now let's bring in the diamonds, the Dow ETF. The Dow has not set new highs yet. And the same thing here. Now, it's not quite as perfect. We did get below the 50-day back in January. We got right back above it. But then once we broke, down she goes. Once we got back above it, it's been priceless. We zoom in. We got above it on what? The 27th of April. Back test, back test, back test, double back test. Now we're not quite testing it yet. So the bulls still have control of the 50 period, which is 50 days right now. We get below it, bulls are over, bears get the edge. So when that happens, you can guess what the title of the video is going to be. Major indexes have broken down. Now, if we go to the Qs, guess what happened on Friday? I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see it. The Qs rallied off the lows, but they did close below the orange line. Of the 3 majors, the Qs now are the weakest. They have broken the 50-day. This is a full-blown sell signal now in the NASDAQ. If the Qs are on a sell, does that mean the whole market, quote, is on a sell? And my answer to that would be no. The SPY is 500 companies. They're not all equally weighted, but it is 500 companies. The Dow's 30. Different industries. Versus Qs are basically tech. Tech has had such a massive run-up. Seeing them crack first is not the end of the world, but you are being put on notice if you're a bull in the market right now. The Qs were the strongest. They're now the first to lead down. They didn't finish at the lows of the day. That would have been a bit of a different conversation. If we had finished at the lows of the day, volume would have spiked up in a big way. I would be saying to you, looks like correction time, here we come. It didn't happen that way. They only closed a little below. Now, if Monday turns out to be a big down day, close at the lows of the day, that would be a very negative sign for the market. It's going to be a day-by-day thing, but technically speaking, Qs just won on the sell signal. And as we dive into some of the bigger tech stocks, they're doing the same thing. Although Apple's still bucking the trend. So let's go take a look at some of these. Let's first start with Microsoft. Once we got above the 50-day here on Microsoft, same thing. Actually, one day below, right back above. So let's say from 4.8 It's been a really nice ride. Now we broke the 50-day back on Tuesday in orange. Right here's Tuesday. Look at Wednesday. We finished really right on it. Thursday, we gapped up here and then closed down here. Bearish engulfed the previous day. That was an up day. And now we're sitting down here. This is now tracing out a bear flag. This is bearish. Microsoft, on a daily chart, it's on a sell now from a technical perspective. And I would say, what, another 2 days? Something else to watch? Watch if the 20-day EMA in red crosses below the 50-day. That is another full-blown technical sell signal that market technicians will look for. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. So Microsoft's on a sell. How about Netflix? Let's zoom in. Now they broke the 50-day back in August, but then there was no follow-through. So when you have these one-day breaks, I almost call it like shaking the lemmings from the tree, getting the weak money out, and they pulled it right back up. I want to see 2 straight days now below the orange line, the 50-day. And I'd prefer to see 2 down days. So what do we have over here? Here we barely got below the 50-day on Wednesday. Thursday, definitely. Friday, not much of a bounce. This is enough for me to say, yes, Netflix, I would believe, is on a sell as well. Now, technically, it simply is because we're below the 50-day. But given how we had that quick reversal, the quick reversal really hasn't happened here. We never got up back above it. We're staying below it. So if I was trading Netflix, what this would tell me from a technical perspective and always from an educational perspective, I would want some hedging now if this was a bigger position. Now, if it's a small position for me, maybe I wouldn't care, as a hypothetical. But if it was a larger position, this is the point at which you really start considering hedging. Now, you can also see there's basically a box in here. So let's go ahead and do drawings and hang on, we will get it, drawing tools. I'm going to put a box in here just so you can see it. You could try to do something like this and say, all right, we got a box on Netflix. Maybe I'm going to wait for that box to break or we take out the previous low. I could do that too. It all depends how much risk exposure I'm willing to accept. But right now, you're put on notice with essentially 3 days below the 50-day that Netflix is starting to show cracks in the armor. How about Amazon? Amazing, right? Stock more than doubled since the low. Here we had the big down move. We then rallied, and now we're breaking the 50-day. So this was the old box, but I'm going to take it off because it really doesn't have any bearing anymore since we broke out. So I don't really want to use this anymore. The fact that we broke that 50-day moving average, volume was definitely average, even a little above. 5 of the last 6 days, let's zoom in, we're down. And where are we finishing? Only 1 day were we really off the lows. That was the first litmus test, dipping your toe in the water, and we came back up. Now we have also bearish engulfing from Thursday over Wednesday, and now a breach, and it's a new near-term closing low. So yes, Amazon now is going on a sell signal, but because it's below its 50-day. This would also want me to start considering hedging. Maybe I would lighten up my bullish positions, things of that nature potentially. How about Google? Google's cracked its 50-day. 3 of 4 days below the orange. Back here it did act as support. Over here it was a 1-day reversal. This to me is, by itself, maybe Google's not the end of the world, but you throw Microsoft, Netflix, and Amazon in here, you can see how big tech is cracking. Take a look at, not SMG, Scott's Miracle-Gro. Well, we're here, let's take a look. Nothing going on Scott's Miracle-Gro. There is a head and shoulders though. Oh, and an island reversal. Look at this. So I typed in the wrong symbol, but hey, look at the goodness we found. There is a head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline. Ooh, the neckline's going to be right by that 50-day. So if you guys are following SMG, watch 155 because you're going to have confluence. Not only are you going to break the 50-day if that happens, the institutional line in the sand, you got a neckline violation too. And gap fill would be the immediate target, but if I zoom out here, you're going to go to that swing low. That would be the target after the gap fill. So 149 and then down to 126, all about the 50-day. So keep an eye on this. And in terms of volume, it's starting to pick up a little bit. And I love island reversal patterns near tops, especially, well, that's a dividend. It's not an earnings. So earnings was over here, the last hurrah. Yeah, keep an eye on that 155 on SMG. Now, I meant to type in SMH. Now, here you have an ETF of semiconductors. Big volume here. We have that almost like a U pattern. It's the last hurrah, spike up, immediate gap down, close the lows of the day. It did just what Amazon did, broke the 50-day, came back up, and now we're pushing lower. Because we spent back-to-back days below the 50-day, that is a bearish sign. We take out this low, that's the last thing I could wait for. What you're probably also picking up on is these stocks that are breaking down, they can't get back above their 20-day either. Look how we hit it and came down. Now that's on SMH. If I go back to Google, the one-day bounce hit the red line. If I go back to Amazon, what do we see? We can't get above the 20, can't get above the 20. We get above it, but then close below it. That's that change in sentiment again. So it's a really good time to do this type of video. It's going to be a little longer than normal, but we're seeing a shift now. The bulls aren't coming in and buying the dips. They're now starting to sell. They're becoming net sellers. The change in sentiment is appearing right before our eyes. Does that guarantee a correction? No. But what it does tell you is buying the dips is no longer being rewarded. The price action speaks volumes right now that the bears are getting the upper hand, or at least the bulls are starting to get a little scared. All right, now let's take a look at some other stocks. We're going to talk about Apple here in a little bit. Here's Shopify. I want to bring Shopify, Wayfair, Etsy, and Pool back in because I talked about these last weekend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here was Monday. We broke below. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we tried to get back up, and then we couldn't. In this case, remember, the blue line is the 8-day EMA. The red is the 20-day EMA, and the orange is the 50 SMA, simple moving average. This is bear flag. Broke down, trying to get back up, and we can't. So Shopify is following through on a breach of that 50-day. I know some of you guys are following these because I get questions on them. You know, how are they doing technically? And here's Wayfair. We break the 50, can't get above it, and then we close lower. This is also acting like a bear flag. How about Etsy? Etsy broke the 50-day last Friday. Then we had the big reversal, and look what happened. Up, sells off, tries to get up, sells off, gets up there, sells off, gets up there, sells off. People are now selling. Look what that 50-day is doing. The moment it can get back up there, people are hitting the sell button. They're not buying. They're saying, ooh, it's down, let's go get some. No, now when it rallies, they're selling. This is also a bear flag. And then look at Pool. Everybody's buying pools. We cracked the 50-day on Monday. Same thing. Can't get back above the moving averages. So a lot of these high flyers are now starting to hit the selling pressure. Hit by selling pressure. Here is Callaway. Eli is the ticker symbol. Callaway Golf. I had a question on this one, and it follows the Shopify, the Wayfair, the Etsy, the Pools, the Microsoft, all of them. We stayed above the 50-day for a very long period of time. Now we're getting some selling pressure. That's fine. This could just be a pullback. We don't know yet. If it breaks the 50-day, first time that has happened in what, 5 months almost? That's your change in sentiment. So keep an eye on the 50-day, which is around 1878. If we go to, let's do Apple next. Now, Apple's still holding up. Massive high flyer. They had their bearish engulfing. Now, you remember 2 videos ago, and right now I'm pretty much only doing weekend videos. I think there was one on a Monday. I said to you, once we get into September, what did I say to you? I think I even showed it to you on the financial chart. And financial shows that the historical data, the way they trade Apple, September is not a good month. It doesn't mean the end of the world, clearly, because Apple keeps going up over time. But if there was ever a 2 to 4 week window when the bears actually have a flat out statistical edge on Apple, it is only during the month of September. And it's tied around that conference, their developers gathering, if you will. And once we get into that Labor Day, they usually sell into it and even sometimes sell post it. So when I said to you, how could I see that Apple was likely had the possibility of rolling over? This chart was immensely bullish. But then you hit September and look what happens. First trading day of September, and then down we go. That, if you actually trade the high, just take that as 130. If we rounded up to 138, we closed at 112. Not bad, 26 points. And you could literally say, yep, saw it coming. But Apple is still bullish until it gets below the 50-day. About Tesla. Tesla went through its own stock split. Here, we've come down, we hit the 50-day, and we've had a bounce. Is that a weak, pathetic bounce? It depends which side of the aisle you're on. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But notice you can't get above these moving averages. If Tesla would regain the 20-day in red and the 8-day in blue, the target goes right back up here. If it breaks the 50-day and we close below it, then that will be classified as a very weak bounce, and dips are no longer being bought. And look how long Tesla's been above its 50-day. I saw another news article out there calling Tesla fraud. I guess Nikola, NKLA, somebody alleged that they're doing fraud too with their accounting. I have no idea. It's just the stories that are running. But right now, traders don't seem to care. Tesla's doing very, very well. At least Tesla is. What else we got? Oh, Peloton. I had a question on this one with everybody being, well, let's not even go down that path. With folks exercising at home, what do we have here on Peloton? Well, we have an earnings report a couple days ago, and we have bearish engulfing on massive volume. If I was trading this stock, which I'm not, and I just see an earnings report and I see bearish engulfing like that, I would be looking to, I would almost say, proactively hedge, lock in profits, because what can take, what did it double? In 2 months it doubled, 3 months it doubled. It could give all that back in a week. Stocks go up in escalators, down in elevators. The down moves are a lot quicker. You have bearish engulfing here, bearish engulfing here. You have these candles, which reversal candles as well. This has the makings of a top. Has it been confirmed? Absolutely not. There's no continuation move with these candles. We are not pushing lower. But if you ever said, what is a massive warning sign? Yeah, all this is a massive warning sign. And the type of volume that came in, they weren't willing to buy the new news. They sold it. What did we get? 90, basically 98. We closed at 84, a $14 reversal. So heads up on Peloton. Salesforce.com. This was a seasonally bullish stock. I told the members of Financial knew about this, that the company has a massive upside during these quarterly reports. Certain earnings reports, just like Apple with its developers conference, they have bearish reactions to that report historically. Well, CRM was, I think, what was it? Around 80% of the time, 8 out of 10 years, this thing goes higher, and it goes higher by a lot. And then pop goes the weasel, if you will. Now we're coming down, we're holding the red line. So from a short-term perspective, yes, it's still bullish. If we get below the red line, then the short-term trend goes bearish, and then of course we break the 50, it goes flat out bearish, but it's clinging on right now. If we go to Zillow, Zillow's still holding up in there. The 50-day was support over here. It's back above its 8-day, even its 20-day. This thing looks very bullish. There's nothing wrong with it. If it gets back below the red, short-term sell signal for near-term, if you will, trading strategies. And then, of course, below here, then it's flat out bearish, but it's still holding up. Now, 2 other seasonal stocks I gave you guys, was it 2 weeks ago? Was Delta and AMD. I said, hey, if the market rolls over here, it's going to be very interesting. AMD was doing well and Delta was just hanging out. All of a sudden, Delta's pushing higher despite the market pulling back. So the question is, does seasonality work throughout the year? I'm going to say, yes, it does, even during the pandemic, because you guys know Domino's Pizza had that positive reaction to its earnings report. Some of you guys wrote in saying, oh my God, you haven't seen options go up that much in a day, in your trading career. Stocks that if we get into a sell-off, you're going to see seasonal trade ideas that are bearish probably get sold 9 ways to Sunday. So it doesn't really matter what's happening. I know we have the election coming up. We also have one of the best times of the trading year once November does arrive. That's going to hit us. We just take it as it goes. But now you have the market pulling back and Delta's actually going up. So how about AMD? And Delta's going up on schedule so far. How about AMD? Bearish engulfing. I told you guys, watch. This is usually a great time for this stock to roll over, and then down we go. If we break the 50-day, it too goes on a full-blown sell. So long video. Hope you found it helpful. Wish you guys all the best. Unless this week goes absolutely bonkers, you'll see me in a weekend video. If things get crazy, I'll try to do a video during the week as well to keep you guys up to date. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.